Tonight on CBC Vancouver News.
The insinuation that I somehow might be a drug dealer to my neighbors is frankly outrageous.
A Vancouver City councillor apologizes after falsely claiming some fellow councillors use and sell drugs. Plus,
this PST expansion will be another nail in the coffin.
BC business leaders plead with the province not to expand the PST as the government faces a massive deficit and rising debt.
And it's clear, this government and the business community are not on the same page.
And FIFA players and officials will get to drive in bus lanes when the tournament hits Vancouver. Transit advocates hope it will help expand the network.
You better believe that we're going to be out during FIFA with cameras, filming buses just absolutely stuck in traffic.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Hello, I'm Dan Burritt. Thanks for joining us. A city councillor with Vancouver's governing ABC party is in hot water after claiming, without evidence, that opposition councillors were drug users and dealers. Councillor Lenny Zhou has since apologized. Our municipal affairs reporter Justin McElroy joins us. Justin, first of all, what exactly did Zhou claim?
Yeah, Dan, this came about due to a motion that is in front of council this week to reverse a ban that council put on new supportive housing last year. This is coming from an opposition councillor, Rebecca Bly. Lenny Zhou, with the ruling ABC party, wants that ban to be put in place, and he does semi-regular updates on his WeChat channel, a popular Chinese-speaking social media platform, about different things that are coming to council. In this post, he talked about that motion, talked about how he was opposed to it, talked about how he thought that supportive housing complexes equated to drug dens, which in his words could bring extra crime and gangs and social disorder to council. But then he also said this.
我还可以告诉大家，非 ABC 温哥华的几名议员，他自己就是毒品的使用者，在圣诞节前夕就在街头公开发放毒品，这对我们下一代的示范意义有多么可怕，我想大家可想而知。
Zhou never said which councillors he was referring to or what sort of specific incident around Christmas time he was talking about, provided no evidence of the sort, and then moved on in his video. Now, this was shared on his WeChat channel last week. It quickly spread, being shared over 1,000 times. Opposition councillors got wind of it over the weekend, and because none of them were directly identified, all of them felt personally aggrieved that they could be implicated in what were false allegations, and held a joint press conference today to reveal the video and to show their opposition with what Zhou said.
I live in a predominantly Chinese neighborhood where my neighbors speak Chinese, and the insinuation that I somehow might be a drug dealer to my neighbors is frankly outrageous.
Well, Justin, Lenny Zhou has now deleted this clip and in a statement apologized, but did he explain why he made these claims in the first place?
Not exactly. As you said, Dan, a few hours after this press conference and after media asked Zhou for comment, he released a statement through the mayor's office, which said, in part, my comments were based on incorrect information, and for that I unequivocally apologize, retracting the statement, taking down the video, and further went on to say he's proud to be a passionate advocate for engaging with his community and will continue to fight for Vancouverites, but did not live up to the standards that I strive for. People have been asking, will you provide specifics on what you were attempting to say or what evidence you thought that you had? Will you be posting this apology on WeChat, where you originally made these claims and where they spread? Thus far, he has not responded to our comments, but we'll see if he has anything else to say throughout this week.
All right. Justin McElroy, thanks very much. Premier David Eby is slamming a Senate committee studying a piece of federal legislation that could prevent extortion suspects from claiming refugee status to avoid deportation. Our Katie DeRosa joins us with more from Victoria. Katie, Eby is sounding very frustrated. What are his concerns?
Yeah, so the Premier lashed out against that Senate committee, accusing senators of gutting key reforms to Canada's immigration laws. Now, EB had hoped that reforms under Bill C-12 would stop extortion suspects from claiming refugee status to delay deportation. The section that he's referring to is a new provision that, if passed, would prevent people from filing a refugee or asylum claim if they've been in Canada for more than 12 months. However, the committee raised concerns about the bill being an executive overreach. But here's what EB had to say about that.
So to see that the Senate not only didn't hear that message about speeding things up, but is actually proposing to remove the very provisions that would protect the people south of the Fraser from this wildly frustrating attack on the integrity of our immigration and refugee system, I have to question, we look to the Senate for sober second thought. I have to question whether there is thought and, frankly, whether there's sobriety in the Senate chamber.
So let's look at some of the numbers. The Canada Border Services Agency told CBC News that out of 281 people that it's investigating linked to extortion, 104 have filed a refugee claim. So far, 10 people have been deported, and that's as of the end of January. But I spoke with the head of the Canadian Council of Refugees, and she slammed EB's statements. She called them toxic and misguided, and she says, as a lawyer, he should know better. So the Canadian Council of Refugees is hoping that those changes do take effect. But either way, it's going to be some time before we know exactly what that bill will entail.
And Katie, how common is it for extortion suspects to file refugee claims, and how would this bill address that?
Well, so yeah, as I mentioned, there's about 104 claims that have been, put to refugee status, and so that's something that the Premier is upset about. But again, as the Canadian Council of Refugees mentioned, they're saying that the changes to the bill would not actually impact extortion cases. They say that already exists under the criminal code, and that is the area that the Premier should be focusing on.
Katie DeRosa in Victoria, thanks very much. A public hearing examining the actions of police leading up to the 2015 death of Myles Gray has now resumed. Proceedings were delayed 1 month after a lawyer involved was caught making vulgar comments on a hot mic. 33-year-old Myles Gray died in 2015 in South Burnaby after a violent encounter with Vancouver police. All 7 officers accused of fatally beating him have denied allegations of misconduct. In 2023, a coroner's jury ruled his death was a homicide. BC business leaders are pleading with the province not to expand the provincial sales tax announced in last week's provincial budget. As Shivani Joshi explains, that call comes amid a massive deficit and rising debt.
This PST expansion will be another nail in the coffin.
That's the warning from BC's business community as the province announced the expansion of the provincial sales tax in last week's budget. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business said more businesses have closed down or left the province than have opened in nearly a year and a half.
It's no wonder that when CFIB asked small business owners if they would recommend someone start a small business today, 2/3 say no.
The tax is being expanded to additional professional services, such as accounting, bookkeeping, engineering and geoscience, security and private investigation, and commercial real estate. Industry leaders say the PST is an additional burden on businesses already struggling as a result of economic downturn, tariffs, and the rise in theft and property crime.
And it's clear this government and the business community are not on the same page.
The Greater Vancouver Board of Trade gave the budget a D grade, calling the expansion damaging and unexpected.
This government has a spending problem. $4 billion in taxes that are impacting British Columbians across the board, businesses across the board. That is why we're calling for this PST expansion to be stopped. There is no middle ground. We need to do everything we can in this province to be more competitive.
BC Finance Minister Brenda Bailey said the changes align with other jurisdictions and will help fund other services in the province. The PST expansion is set to take effect October 1st. Shivani Joshi, CBC News, Vancouver.
A plan to build dozens of townhomes is raising worries in a part of South Surrey. As Saurabh Sandhu reports, some people in Ocean Park fear it will bring congestion and change the character of the neighborhood.
A voice of support for a development proposal in South Surrey is met with opposition at a public hearing Monday evening. The proposal to rezone lands to allow more density is angering some in the community. It would allow the construction of 89 townhomes at the corner of 24th Avenue and 128th Street in the Ocean Park neighborhood.
A townhouse development would change the appearance and the character of the neighborhood to its detriment.
At Monday's public hearing, which saw crowds spilling outside the council chambers, more than 4 people spoke, the majority of them expressing their opposition.
Shoving 89 townhouses into this small plot of land is conducive for anybody.
There's great concern in the neighborhood that our infrastructure, schools, roads, etc. can't support that level of development.
The proposed townhome development sits directly opposite Crescent Park Elementary. Qualico Developments is arguing the amendment would bring a broader range of housing to the community and meet evolving market and demographic needs.
I'm rarely seeing people walking the streets. You don't have that same level of interactivity that you would see in places like White Rock.
I'm hopeful that the council will take what they're here tonight and see the 200 people that have come out to speak passionately about our neighborhood and take it to heart.
At Monday night's hearing, the council directed staff to conduct an additional traffic study and hold more public information hearings before the proposal comes to council again. Saurabh Sandhu, CBC News, Surrey.
Canada's Minister of Artificial Intelligence wants answers from the makers of ChatGPT about why it didn't tell police about concerns with the account of the Tumbler Ridge shooter before the mass shooting. As Marina von Stackelberg reports, it raises questions about safety and the threshold for escalating potential threats.
Was there anything troubling that you heard?
Yes.
What exactly did you hear?
Federal ministers leaving a meeting with executives from OpenAI say they now have more questions than answers. The tech company behind ChatGPT summoned to Ottawa following concerning new details about what it knew about the Tumbler Ridge shooter.
We have real questions about their safety protocols, both on the technical and the human side, their escalation thresholds, when they do it, how they make those decisions, when they inform police.
OpenAI says it banned the Tumbler Ridge shooter from ChatGPT 8 months before the mass shooting. 8 people were killed, including 6 children. Staff at OpenAI internally flagged troubling posts, including about gun violence, but decided not to tell police until after the attack.
The news that OpenAI might have had the opportunity to stop this terrible tragedy in Tumbler Ridge is just devastating.
BC Premier David Eby wants Ottawa to require big tech companies to report potential violence. And he wants OpenAI to come to BC.
I want them to meet with the families. I want them to look in the eyes of these families and tell them why they made the call they did. And ultimately, I want British Columbians to know what they knew.
We have no regulatory or oversight mechanism.
This expert says the federal government urgently needs to legislate platforms like ChatGPT, requiring them to be more transparent.
They will not do it on their own, and we know that from 20 years of experience with large technology platforms who do not self-regulate sufficiently. So we need to make them. There's no question about that.
The AI minister says all options are on the table, but so far the federal government has made no commitment to regulate companies like OpenAI. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
Darius Madavi is here with a first look at the weather and a whole bunch of moisture on that screen.
That's right, but down south of us, mostly affecting southern Oregon and northern California. Pretty intense atmospheric river happening. We'll be keeping an eye on that over the next few days. But up here in BC, southern BC, beautiful, sunny, dry throughout the day today. We are seeing that precipitation that's been affecting northern BC, creeping its way south, so the central interior really starting to see that snow develop. These gray areas are places where we don't have radar coverage, although the mountains in BC make that a little bit more complicated. Again, Dry day today, but more precipitation is on the way for tomorrow and Thursday, making its way down the island and to the lower mainland by tomorrow around midday. And then we're going to see another drying out period for Friday and the weekend. Dan?
Okay. Darius, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Coming up, FIFA players and staff will be able to use bus lanes when the tournament comes to Vancouver this summer. We'll have all the details after this. FIFA Men's World Cup players and officials will be able to zip around in Vancouver's bus lanes when the tournament arrives in town this summer. The move is meant to help with their schedules, but as Leanne Yu reports, others hope it will demonstrate a need for more dedicated lanes.
When the FIFA World Cup is in town from June 11th to July 19th, Vancouver commuters can expect to see an uptick in vehicles using these special use lanes.
Usually reserved for buses, bicycles, taxis, and carpoolers. FIFA-accredited vehicles carrying athletes, dignitaries, and staff will be allowed to drive in them, between key sites like BC Place and the Fan Festival of the PNE. One councillor says the impact should be minimal.
I've been very concerned about issues around FIFA, and this definitely caught my eye, and I looked at it. I think just from reading it, it looks like it's going to be a very small amount of vehicles that are going to be using these lanes.
But another says the approval is a missed opportunity to expand the network.
It would be nice to see more legacy benefits of FIFA. We just don't have the public benefits that we saw with the Olympics, and I think that's a bit sad.
Transit advocates agree.
During the Olympics in 2010, the city put a huge network of temporary Olympic lanes across the city. This time, we're just repurposing the few bus lanes that we already have.
While he's concerned about congestion, Agar hopes busier bus lanes will signal the need to add more of them.
You better believe that we're going to be out during FIFA with cameras, filming buses just absolutely stuck in traffic and using it as leverage in the upcoming election.
TransLink says it's comfortable sharing bus lanes with dedicated FIFA vehicles and will have more on Cup-related service plans next week. Leanne Yu, CBC News, Vancouver.
Canadian Airlines have resumed service to Mexican destinations 2 days after the killing of drug lord El Mencho sparked violence and halted many flights. Still, Ottawa is urging Canadians to be careful. Jorge Barrera has more.
Things are bustling again here at the Puerto Vallarta airport as international flights have resumed. Some Canadians managed to snag the first flights out of here. I spoke to one couple who had their flights canceled on Sunday, and they thought they were going to have to stay here for another 2 weeks, but they got on the Air Canada website and they managed to snag one of the first flights back home. The second couple who had a flight previously booked for today were double, triple, quadruple checking to make sure their flight was still departing, and they got here 4 hours before it was supposed to leave. Now, I've also spoken to locals here, including business owners, who say they're worried that the events of Sunday may have tarnished the image of Puerto Vallarta, impacted the way people see this tourist destination. They said, you know, we depend a lot on tourism, Canadian tourism. We hope that people will return because what happened on Sunday is out of the ordinary. Now, the Mexican federal government is also projecting stability. A warship just docked off the port here. More soldiers have arrived. The Mexican federal government has said they have sent about 9,500 military elements spread out through the state of Jalisco. Now, there are still Canadians coming here for vacation. I ran into another couple that was just arriving, and they said the images that they saw and on the news and on social media on Sunday didn't dissuade them from continuing on with their vacation. And they said they're ready to just go with the flow. Jorge Barrera, CBC News, Puerto Vallarta.
We have some breaking news to share with you. There has been another deadly avalanche in BC, this time near Pemberton, near Joffrey Lakes Park. The RCMP confirms one person was killed in a slide earlier in the afternoon. It says Pemberton Search and Rescue located the missing person dead, and the recovery is now underway. This is the third deadly avalanche in BC in recent days, and the fourth of the season. There's a look at Vancouver from Grouse Mountain, where it was a gorgeous sunny winter day. Starting off cool, but that warm February sun is warming things up. Darius has your BC-wide forecast coming up.
I'm Stephen Quinn, and I love living here in Vancouver, BC. It's a city with world-renowned beauty, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. In our new daily podcast, This is Vancouver, we're exploring the diverse range of issues and stories in the city, the good, the bad, and everything in between, as told by the people who live it every day. Don't miss This is Vancouver, available wherever you get your podcasts, and I'll talk to you soon.
If you're thinking about putting some money into an RSP, the clock is ticking. Monday, March 2nd is that deadline to contribute for the 2025 tax season. But our next guest says more people are choosing something else entirely. Joe Reid is Vice President of Wealth Management at Vancity. Joe, thanks for being here. You say you're seeing a generational shift in how people are investing. What is that?
Yeah, Dan, we are actually seeing that generational shift. We've done a look at our members, and we're seeing that the RSP is still the default, but with certain generations. And what we're seeing is the younger generations, millennials and Gen Z, they're actually starting to use other tools. It's not that they're not saving, they're just using other tools. And that's the tax-free savings account and the first home savings accounts that have come out.
So the TFSA came in effect in Canada in 2008. It's been over 15 years now. How has it changed the way people try to grow their money? And why do you think that these younger generations are drawn to it?
So the way it's changed is that, when you look at what the tax-free savings account does, it's an excellent tool for long-term savings, not just from a savings point, but from an investment point. And what we've seen is that because of that flexibility of being able to put money in, but also to take money out and not have it be taxed, that becomes that spot where a lot of the younger generations are starting to look at. That flexibility in a time where they want access to their money, it becomes really important for them.
How has the TFSA, though, changed the work of financial planners and experts like yourself?
You know what? It's one of the things that we tell our members all the time at Vancity. We tell our members that you want to be working with somebody who understands where you are in your life. We call it the life planning, life event planning, life stage planning. And where it works for us as the advisors is being able to understand what a member's goals are, where they want to go, how they want to invest, and then to be able to recommend the proper tools, the right tools at that moment in time that can best be used for them. And that could be the savings vehicles like the RSP, tax-free savings account, or the first home savings account.
What do you think perhaps these generations have to learn from each other? And are people using both their RSPs and TFSAs, if they have them, to their full potential, or is there something they should be doing differently?
You know what, I think it's a good question. First of all, no, they're not. They're not using it to the full potential, especially the tax-free savings account. When you look at what that ability to go in there, to put money into it, and to have it grow tax sheltered or tax-free during that time is an important part to it. What we've seen in the last while is that our membership has really started to look, the majority of baby boomers are still in RSPs because it does make sense at certain times. We're seeing the millennials, they're basically splitting at about 50% to the tax-free savings and the RSP. Gen X, my generation, we're still predominantly RSP, but we've moved towards that tax-free savings account as well. I think the biggest part is having that opportunity to talk with somebody that can help you to figure out what tool at the right time to be able to invest.
All right. Joe Reid is Vice President of Wealth Management at Vancity. Joe, we appreciate your time and your perspective. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dan.
Ukrainians marked the 4th anniversary of Russia's invasion of their country today. As commemorative events took place across Ukraine, European leaders vowed not to abandon the war-torn nation. More now from Margaret Evans.
4 years in and counting. Prayers for Ukraine's war dead and those still fighting in the trenches. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, flanked by European Union leaders, making what's become an annual pilgrimage of support. It is an unspeakably painful day for Ukrainians. Time standing still for the dead, but not those left behind to mourn and to carry on the fight in their name. Somehow it feels like this war has been going on forever, says 19-year-old Valeria Pivin, whose father was killed. The boys did not die for nothing, says her mother, Irena. I strongly believe that they were on their way to victory. Volodymyr Zelensky says it will come if there's sustained support from Ukraine's allies, a point he repeated to the European Parliament over a €90 billion loan being blocked by Hungary.
This is a real financial guarantee of our security and our resilience. and it must be implemented.
It's a reminder of the careful path Zelensky is treading, not just within the European Union, but with an often unpredictable leader in the White House. In Kyiv, Commission President Ursula von der Leyen offered EU assurances.
This word cannot be broken, so we will deliver on the loan, one way or the other.
The question, of course, is when, and will it come in time to make a difference? In Moscow, Russian President Vladimir Putin accused Ukraine and its Western allies of what he called mass terror by shelling cities and sabotaging infrastructure because they haven't succeeded on the battlefield. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.
Some semblance of normalcy is returning to parts of Mexico after the killing of drug lord El Mencho. His death, though, will have far-reaching repercussions. Thomas Dagle explains how the effect on the illegal drug trade here in Canada comes with surprising and dangerous consequences.
Consider this a taste of what slain drug lord El Mencho was smuggling into Canada.
They were prominent. I mean, if you look at what we have here right now, this is a large load.
A record-breaking cocaine bust last year in Toronto with more than 800 kilograms seized. Drugs that investigators linked to the infamous Jalisco New Generation Cartel, led by Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, or El Mencho for short, the ruthless kingpin killed on Sunday by Mexico's military.
I expect the impacts pretty much to be the same anywhere in the world, including the United States and Canada.
Police in Canada's biggest cities suspect the price of bulk cocaine could soar again, just as it did last month after the arrest of Ryan Wedding, a Canadian said to have done big business with the Sinaloa cartel. Montreal police reported cocaine prices jumped to $33,000 per kilogram before sliding back down to $21,000.
Any type of reduction in the capacity of transnational organized crime networks to be able to do their trade is important. Sometimes it's short-lived.
Police say when prices go up, it leads dealers to cut street cocaine with more dangerous and unpredictable substitutes. And for years, this crime analyst says it's likely El Mencho's cartel carried out killings in Canada, like after that cocaine bust in Toronto.
When these kind of seizures happen, there's people who have to pay for that. And usually payment is basically your life.
The killing of El Mencho came just a month after the arrest of Wedding. The two men's networks were said to have worked together at times to move drugs into Canada. But Wedding's lawyer insists his client didn't provide the information that helped lead authorities to the elusive cartel boss. Thomas Dagle, CBC News, Toronto.
There's a common misconception that there are no black people in Metro Vancouver. In part one of her two-part series, the CBC's Ashley Moliere showed how the population has grown here. Now, in part two, Ashley explores how black people are connecting and building community.
There's a common misconception that there are no black people in Metro Vancouver. Sure, we don't boast numbers like Toronto or Montreal, but the region's black population is getting larger. It grew by 38% between 2016 and 2021, according to census data. So, with this uptick, how and where are black people connecting? One place is at the Centre for Integration of African Immigrants in New Westminster. It was founded more than 20 years ago by Paul Mulangu.
And this is a sort of classroom. Before, there was not a lot of black people. Now there's so many black people.
The center hosts programs like job fairs and tax clinics. It also hosts events for seniors, youth, and to celebrate Black History Month.
You know, it's always our system is like who you know. Is a family oriented. Like if I know somebody knows somebody, is always like is what the time we wanted to do the resource center. Resource center is what the people coming and see other people. They can find their roommates, they can find this, oh yes, I know somebody have a job here.
But Paul says it's hard to keep the programs going when funding from the government isn't consistent.
Community connection is very important. If there's no connection, it become more hard. You can see the East Indian community connection, Chinese community connection. Now you can see the power of Filipino community connection. Is what the lack of the black people, the system doesn't allow us to do the community connection.
I think our tent is right in the middle.
Funding is also a barrier faced by the Black Bloc Association. The group has hosted the Black Bloc Party for the past 4 years at the Vancouver Art Gallery. Ayobami Swara is the team's operations lead.
We invite everyone to come celebrate with us, party with us, enjoy with us, experience our culture, our art, our food.
Ayobami says the goal is to keep the event free to make it more accessible to people, and that means working with sponsors to cover the costs.
There's a lot of cost that goes into it with security, fencing, having porta potties, stage, sound. We pay all of our artists, our hired staff, photographers, videographers, the sound engineer. We pay all of those people. Right?
He says the hard work is worth it to bring black people together, but says success is only possible if people come out and support the event.
We have to be open to it. There's nothing stopping 5,000-6,000 people coming for a Black Bloc party, but you have to be open and willing to, make the trip, go down there.
But is there a new hub outside of Vancouver on the horizon?
When I moved to Surrey, it's pretty amazing.
Surrey is home to much of Metro Vancouver's black population. That's where Ekause Uwandiani owns and operates his restaurant, Vensuya. But it's not just a restaurant.
So we have karaoke nights, we do events like birthday celebration, we do community events like fundraising events for soccer teams. We bring artists from Nigeria or from any part of Africa just to celebrate your Independence Day or a specific day that's been celebrated in Africa or a Caribbean night.
Most of these events are hosted within restaurant hours. But for bigger events outside of work hours, the business can only host around 6 of those a year because of the license they have.
So one of the biggest struggles we have is capacity. We have a small capacity, but because we're in high demand, sometimes we face challenges of going over capacity where we get fines from the liquor board.
Ekause says he's working with the city to upgrade his operating license so they can host more events.
We have people walk up to me and feel bad that we don't do this as regular as we used to do because they find it as a safe space, mentally, a place to relax or even connect. Some people can find their partners. It's just a way to make you mentally stable because you know that you're walking into a safe space that is your own.
While these are just a few people looking to change things, there are many more groups out there, like Black Women Connect Vancouver and Brothers Brunch, as well as annual events like Caribbean Days and Swahili Fest, all actively creating community. But the hope for a permanent long-term space lives on. What do you hope for the future of Metro Vancouver's Black community?
A hub, just a hub where we can all come together, connect on a fun level, creative level, professional level, where we can just do things that have never been done in the city before.
Ashley Mollier, CBC News, Vancouver.
Coming up, does Canada stand to benefit from Donald Trump's war on wind? We find out how the U.S. president's blowback against the renewable power resource could be a good thing in this country. Stay with us. The recent eruption of violence in Mexico has left some Canadians wondering what to do with their travel plans. The CBC's Nisha Patel explains what options may be on the table.
Flights from Canada to Mexico are getting back on track, and many travelers are eager to take off, despite days of violence that locked down Puerto Vallarta.
I think we're feeling pretty safe about it, and we'll, keep watching the situation.
But some travelers are pivoting to other countries instead.
It's not worth the risk. Don't want to get stuck there.
Even though it seems like it's clearing up, we don't know if it will stay stable.
Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister said the situation is volatile and evolving every day. And Global Affairs is advising Canadians to avoid all non-essential travel to the parts of Mexico in orange, and to exercise a high degree of caution in areas in yellow, including Cabo San Lucas, Puerto Vallarta, and Cancun. Airlines, though, are only offering flexible rebooking for the next few days.
Those folks who have March break plans coming up, that's not going to be covered, and you'd be subject to any cancellation provisions that you'd normally see.
Travelers who purchase trip insurance may have more leeway. Still, policies vary widely. And for those without insurance who want to change plans,
you're likely not going to have any recourse for getting your money back if the airlines haven't canceled the flights themselves, or if the government doesn't issue elevate the advisory further.
Supplies, food, water. It's a tough decision for Cindy Redmile. The single mom is supposed to be trading the winter cold for this Cancun beach next week.
I still am concerned because everything that's happened is so fresh still. So I feel like I will wait it out a couple more days.
She worries about getting trapped at the airport and delays in making it home.
I'm 50-50. I'm on the fence about canceling because I am going with my youngest daughter and her safety is utmost importance to me.
Air Canada, WestJet, Air Transat, and Porter have all resumed scheduled flights. Air Canada and WestJet have added extra capacity to bring more people home. Flair Airlines says it will resume scheduled flights on Wednesday. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
Among the many things in Donald Trump's crosshairs, wind power. The U.S. president has gone out of his way to criticize the renewable energy resource and blow up various projects in his country. As Susan Ormiston explains, Canada may stand to benefit as a result.
President Donald Trump is engaged in a war on wind.
There are windmills all over the place, and they are losers.
We're on the New England coast near Newport, Rhode Island, and just off here, 24 kilometers, is a large wind turbine project, almost finished. One of 5 projects in development up and down this coast. But twice since August, the U.S. Department of the Interior has forced stop work orders, costing these companies hundreds of millions of dollars and workers their jobs.
There was a pipeline of work that was promised for decades. They feel betrayed. They feel like they've been punched in the gut.
We reached Rhode Island Democrat Senator Sheldon Whitehouse.
With all of the funding that the fossil fuel industry has given to Trump, this is kind of payback.
But the offshore wind companies are fighting back, taking the Trump administration to court. In 5 legal challenges in January and February, the stop work orders were overturned. So now business is back and work is resuming here at this pier in New London, Connecticut. Ørsted, a big offshore Danish company, is rushing to get 2 wind farms completed. One, Revolution Wind, is expected to start producing power soon at rates lower than power from natural gas. In a strange twist, the attempted purge here in New England could be of benefit to Canada in the long run, with Nova Scotia's premier pushing for wind power off the East Coast.
The interest is through the roof. There's a lot of eyes on Nova Scotia right now. There's a lot of eyes on Canada right now.
Wind West could take nearly a decade and $40 billion to build. Transmission lines, another $20 billion.
The industry will pay. Governments, there's a role for governments. Tax credits, we're having very encouraging discussions with the federal government.
Globally, wind power is accelerating, with the UK and Europe just recommitting to speed up plans for wind power in the North Sea. But here, clearly President Trump is putting a wind chill on future investments. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Providence, Rhode Island.
Darius Madavi here with the BC-wide weather forecast. We start with avalanches, and sadly we have another death near Joffrey Lakes Park. As we said, one skier confirmed caught on a slide and unfortunately has died. That is the fourth one this season and third in just the past few days, Darius.
That's right. I believe it's been less than a week. We've seen, or almost exactly a week, we've seen those 3 fatalities. And this is because avalanche danger has been very high for the past few days. As we've seen new snowfall, many people are excited to get out on the slopes, maybe even get out into the backcountry and enjoy that fresh powder. But avalanche danger has been elevated for a while. And even though we've seen brief dips, it has remained generally high and will continue to be high for the next several days as well, really as long as we keep seeing these fluctuating temperatures and freezing levels and the new snowfall. Notice that as we get into tomorrow, again, considerable danger as well as high in some of those more northern areas, but as we get into Thursday, the entirety of the south coast, the mainland south coast, under that high avalanche danger. That means you should be avoiding avalanche terrain at all costs, being very cautious in the alpine, sticking to those groomed runs, which when Whistler gets 20, 30 centimeters of snow, the groomed runs are hopefully just fine for most folks, and we should see a good dump of snow over the next few days across the south coast and on Vancouver Island. This is constantly being updated by Avalanche Canada. Avalanche.ca is the best place to go for information if you're heading up into the mountains. There was a study a few months ago from SFU that showed that many people, when they're heading up into avalanche terrain, even snowshoers, winter hikers, don't know that they're going into avalanche terrain at all. So if you're heading up into the mountains, heading up to those higher elevations at all, even if you don't think you're going to avalanche terrain, definitely a good place to check to make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. And of course, an avalanche course is the best way to keep yourself safe as you head up, if you're planning to head up into the mountains at all. That being said, the snow that we are getting has been good news in one respect, which is the snow, in addition to people skiing and snowboarding, which is the snowpack. We have seen very, very low snowpack for Vancouver Island all through the season. Currently sitting at about 40% of normal, so 60% below normal. We're about 40% below normal on the south coast as well. Much of the interior is doing a lot better, which is dragging up that provincial average. But it looks like as we head into the spring, it's really going to be a story of different segments of the province, very much getting different conditions. So there's going to be higher risk because of spring flooding or higher risk because of drought. And that could vary a lot based on which part of the province you're in. In terms of the snow that we're getting over the next few days, going to make its way down the south coast, down the coast mountain range and down the Rockies, with the southern interior getting missed for most of it. Although as we get into Friday, we may see some of that break in. The Thompson and the Shuswap may even see some snow before that, as early as tomorrow. Some light flurries are very much possible. Maybe some wet snow around Kamloops. But that snow mostly starts to lighten up as we get into the end of the week, pretty much across the board. In terms of conditions across the province tomorrow, we skipped it by accident. In terms of conditions across the province, some more cloud that should be clearing up around, building in around Kelowna and Cranbrook, probably pretty early in the morning, maybe some showers in Cranbrook as well. And after a few showery and gusty days here on the coast, Dan, we get some sunshine too.
Okay, thanks very much, Darius.
Thank you.
Coming up, telltale signs of BC's important herring spawn as coastal waters turn that milky green. You'll want to see more of this after this.
I'm Amy Bell, and this is your CBC Inbox.
On March 12th, join CBC's Michelle Elliott and a panel of experts for the UBC webinar, What You Need to Know About Menopause. From the latest research to nutrition and physical therapy, get the insights you need. Join the conversation and register at alumni.ubc.ca. And never miss a special programming series, event, or contest. Subscribe to CBC's e-newsletter and keep connected with us.
The herring spawn appears to be underway around Vancouver Island, at least. The small, oily fish are a vital species for many communities along the south coast.
As Marie Seidler explains, telltale signs are already showing up in key spots.
This milky blue-green ocean is on the west coast of Vancouver Island, and for those in the know, it's a sign of exciting things happening below the surface.
The herring spawn it's a really fabulous time to be out here. I mean, literally all of the wildlife that we have on the west coast shows up for this big feast.
Ryan Cutler shot this drone footage just outside his home in Salmon Beach. For weeks, he could tell something big was imminent.
You can hear the sea lions, barking all day and all night. It's evident from all the wildlife that something is about to happen.
This time of year is the beginning of the herring spawn season around Vancouver Island. The small, oily fish gather in large groups. They first lay eggs on kelp and eelgrass, and then the males release milt. That's what creates the milky look of the shore that indicates the spawn is happening. Nick Chowdhury is the president of the Island Marine Aquatic Working Group. It manages a Facebook page that helps people track when and where the spawn is happening.
It's very important to a lot of families and a lot of communities. And if we focus on a First Nations perspective, it's time for gathering food. It's a signal of a lot of turn in the seasons.
Chowdhury says reports of the spawn have just started coming in, and sometimes the results are exciting.
As steps have been taken to try and rebuild herring, to look at how they're being fished and when and where, we have been hearing of some spawn returning to areas that it hadn't occurred in for quite a while.
Shirley Louie is a member of the Samanis First Nation and a longtime fisher. She started learning more about herring a few years ago as part of a project to document how to catch and prepare it.
So I called my aunties and my uncle, and they're like, yeah, we know how to clean herring. Do you want to smoke it or fry it? And I said both.
Louie says the process taught her about the significance of the oily little fish and appreciate its unique taste.
It's like the richest food you'll ever have. It has a grease in her that your body needs naturally for health and wellness.
Louie says the herring spawn is an exciting time for her and her family and for so many people all around Vancouver Island and the south coast. Marie Seidler, CBC News, Comox.
It looks like something from space, all that.
It's so cool.
It is very cool, very cool. And they're tasty. I have to say that legally as a Dutchman, so there we go. Pickled?
I haven't tried it. It's on my list.
Very good.
In BC. That and the grouse grind. Thanks for being with us tonight on CBC Vancouver News at 6. You can watch this newscast on CBC Gem, YouTube, and our website, cbc.ca/BC.
And we'll have your next local news at 11 o'clock right after the National. See you then.